It is time.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. This is Galaxy Jams Reacts. I'm Kai, and we're here with our special guest, DELTAnine. Chris, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, thanks.
Awesome. We're going to be listening to the Glitchmob. Have you ever heard of them before, Chris?
I have.
You have. What do you know about them?
I've built their stage production once when they were doing their taiko drum tour.
Oh, really?
They played with taiko?
No. So taiko drums are
The Japanese
massive.
drum, yeah.
Yeah, these big drums that they would beat on. They had
Uh-huh.
I think they had 3 or 4 of them, and then these custom built
Whoa.
Ableton rigs. It was pretty crazy, but yeah, I'm pretty familiar with their music over the last probably 8 years or so.
Is taiko playing like a part of their norm, or was that just like a song they did?
The taiko playing was, honestly, I think it was more of a kind of stage theatric.
Oh, gotcha.
Part of their performance, right? Where the pads were actually MIDI pads, and they could do whatever sounds they wanted.
Oh, gotcha.
So it was like an aesthetic thing. It was like looking at us beating the big drums.
Yeah.
It was, and you can imagine doing a 30 arena tour with this one set of stage decor, right? So they were very stressed about keeping it in good quality.
So you said that you did that for a show?
Yeah, I used to stagehand at Ram's Head. And,
it was at Ram's Head. Cool.
Yeah, which was it's a smaller room for sure for that style of production, but yeah, we did some cool stuff.
That's awesome. Well, we're going to be listening to a song of theirs called "We Can Make the World Stop" from their EP. It's an EP, "We Can Make the World Stop," that was released in 2011. So let's check it out.
Sounds like Sound Tribe Sector 9.
Yeah. They used to do a lot of stuff.
Ooh.
That was interesting. It's more of those cuts.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
It sounds like a rock band, but it's not at all.
Yeah, they're very anthemy.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, hell yeah. I love that. It's everything is so buzzy. Like it's so filled with like a lot of buzzy sounds. Chris, when you hear them live, does that buzziness like fill the entire room?
I'm not sure. I know exactly what you mean.
I think it's like the drums sound so lo-fi and like crunchy.
It's a lot of like the bass and the synth like all have that kind of buzzy kind of
like saw that like
saw like so yeah.
I would say yes. Okay. And this is definitely, I think this is an older album. I forget exactly what year it's from, but
2011.
Yeah, 2011. Again, like if you weren't using those kind of like massive style wub sounds in EDM, you were using like a unison saw bass and like a crunchy bass.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I mean it was definitely a crunchy time. And then on top of that, you've got the samples, which are nowadays people do much like shorter, tighter snares, and the kicks and stuff are a bit shorter, and the technology has come a long way as far as how people can mix the kick and the sub and all of that. So this is definitely prior to that. But I forgot about that middle section there with the vocoder and everything. And then when the lead comes in, that kind of like stereo with like lead that comes in towards the second half of the main part is dank. So.
Also, I think that when artists make music, they kind of make it for the sound system that they want. And I feel like when this song came out, and maybe the level, of popularity that the clubs that they were playing at maybe didn't have those big, immaculate sound systems that allowed for, a lot of different room and movement like they do now, right? I feel like, it's getting cheaper and cheaper to have a much better sound system. So nowadays, even if you're making, for example, I feel like back then, even if you made a really, really dynamic song, you're probably not going to be able to play it through a sound system that can showcase it unless you're very, very, very popular, right? And so nowadays, I feel like they're more free to make, like the Of the Tree song. It had so many different, boundaries that it was pushing, and I feel like you can really like exercise a sound system through it. And he's probably making it with those sound systems in mind, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And mixing in general has come so far, and the way like we can achieve certain levels of loudness and clarity
exactly
people didn't really do before. Like you could get stuff loud, but now like even prior to mastering and mix down, people are like intentionally clipping their kicks and different sounds before even mastering and clipping with a limiter or anything like that, just taking control over that process, because we know we're going to end up clipping it. That's part of like getting it to be certain loudness. So like we came from an era back then where people were still kind of like including headroom in their final masters, to now where there's not any headroom in sight. So
definitely great insight. Let's keep it going. Also like the album art.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Even with that synth, it sounds so lo-fi.
Yeah, because there's a little crunchiness to it.
Cool, Brad.
Let's go.
Ooh. That was cool. A little scratchy. I really like those guitar hits, like
Right.
random
right,
guitar
right.
hits. It's cool. That's pretty dope. I like that.
Man, so Chris, you mentioned that you have listened to a lot of other music by the Glitch Mob. So this is a pretty new, older song. How would you say that this compares to like the other things that you've listened to?
I think it's pretty comparable. Their style definitely didn't change much. It's definitely geared towards like big room settings, right? Which that anthem-y element of it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking too. It's like real anthem-y.
Big kick drums, big snare
Uh-huh.
drums, right? Like maybe some clapping like this with the crowd, right? You know?
Right. Mutual.
Yeah,
Doing one of those swangs, right?
yeah. Ultimately, I don't think I have like I don't really have a favorite song by the Glitch Mob. They've done a handful of tracks that have caught my attention, but the majority of their songs, I think I kind of like listen to once and then move on.
What did you think, Kai?
I liked it a lot. I only noticed it near the end, but how he was, or how they were like just like switching instruments, but it was continued all the way through. It was really cool. That's when I heard the guitar hits near the end.
Yeah, it's weird how they kept bringing in different one-off elements that just kind of popped in and then like that's it, right?
Yeah.
When usually it's like when you introduce something, you kind of do it in different layers and you kind of like, go back and forth between different things that you introduce.
Right.
So yeah, that was great.